What's up? Welcome to the unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 72, and I am Adam Choit. To follow this show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram, and on YouTube, it's Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. Pretty easy to find. That's my channel. I'm at Adam Choit on Twitter and Instagram if you want to follow me. And please be sure to, of course, subscribe on YouTube and on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. And 5-star positive reviews on iTunes, Apple Podcasts are helpful and greatly appreciated. I also have another podcast called People We Love. I interview people from all walks of life, mostly creative types, casual conversation about their lives and careers. But I also ask everyone to highlight the people they love, who've inspired them, who've influenced them, who've helped them in their career and their personal life, in their journey. That's a lot of fun. Definitely check that out at People We Love Podcast on Instagram. And peoplewelovepodcast.com is the website for that. So for today's episode of this podcast, we have returning guest from way back, episode 3. It's Sean Roche. Sean lives a little north of New York City, and that's a great spot to catch Tedeschi Trucks Band shows all across the Northeast. Sean enjoys recording video of at least several songs when he goes out to shows, and is nice enough to share them on his YouTube channel, 33S Roche. Just search Sean Roche on YouTube. You'll definitely find his channel, which is awesome. And it has lots of musical acts, including tons of videos of TTB, of course. And today, Sean joins me to recap the band's recent March 2022 3-show run at the historic Capitol Theater in Port Chester, New York. So let's just get started. Here's Sean Roche. All right, so it's good to see you today, Sean Roche. Thank you for joining me on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the invite.
Oh, for sure. How are you holding up during whatever year this is?
Actually, I think we're officially post-COVID. It's been good to be getting back to normal. I've done a bunch of shows. I saw Warren and O'Teal in 2 different shows a couple weeks ago. I saw Billy Strings. I saw Marcus King, and so we've been out and about a little bit, which is good.
Where's that Marcus King show at?
It was at the Cap. So
you love that theater, and we'll get into it. That was an awesome show. I'm going to ask you to recap the Marcus King show and maybe some of these other shows too. We'll be here for 3 hours. But yeah, tell me something about that Marcus King show. I've seen him, I think I saw him come out at the Beacon, obviously, and then I saw him out here in Los Angeles a couple of years ago or so.
I think he's reached another level. He's almost too big for that place anymore. Billy Strings might already be. So I think Marcus was ahead of Billy, and I think Billy, with probably a lot of the Grateful Dead involvement and things like that, has kind of eclipsed him. But the band was tight. It was a good show, and those videos are all on my page if anybody's looking for them. So I was kind of shocked at how good the O'Teal show was too. And then after that, I saw Warren solo at Ridgefield Playhouse. And I took my mother to that one. So I figured a couple years ago, I took her to see the Warren Bluegrass Band, and she really liked that. And, she's like Herman's Hermits and, that 60s pop stuff. She's not really into the rest of it, even though she was at Woodstock. She was miserable. So,
she was at Woodstock, but miserable at it?
Yes, she made her boyfriend bring her home. She said,
wow.
Oh, it was awful. There was no porta potties, and there were islands. The porta potty was an island surrounded by a lake. So it was one of those deals. So, and then my little Irish grandmother was sitting at the kitchen table at 3:00 in the morning when she got home, which I'm sure was not a good scene. But
stories.
So I took her, and actually ended up with friends sitting in the aisle right next to us. So that was good. Totally by accident. And then we moved into the main event for the springtime, which was the three nights at the Cap with Tedeschi Trucks. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm sure that was amazing. And I can't wait to hear all about it. Of course, this is your second time on this on the show. It's been a minute. You were like episode or guest like three or four,
I think it
episode
was
two,
3. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. So
Yep.
it's been a minute. So I won't, make you retell your entire life story, but essentially you're a hardcore TTB fan who obviously, as people can gather already, who don't know you, love seeing live music, and you record video at the shows.
Yeah. We'll take video as long as people continue to watch it. So, and as long as the artists allow it. So, I'll try to get, I usually have a goal of taking 5 or 6 videos a night when I go in, because I don't want to be doing that all night. And it usually ends up 7 or 8. And one of these shows, it was 9 songs. So I guess I get excited. So we end up with maybe a little too much, but it's all good. And I usually try to capture, the uncommon stuff. So one of the walking in on Saturday, I saw Ed Gendelman, and he leans over and he says, they sound checked. I heard the sound check, and they sound checked Sugary, the whole thing. I went, holy crap. Well, here we go. So I was looking for that all night. And I don't know if it was first time played or not, but it might be. So, but it was really cool to hear their take on the whole thing, and to have it stand alone by itself. So
yeah, for very cool.
That's the kind of stuff I'm usually looking for. So
yeah, and when you film, you are actually kind of following the action, following the sound. So you can't just set down your camera, I guess, and on a stick or tripod or something, and just watch the show and not look through the viewfinder, because you're kind of like following when there's a horn or the backup singer or
it's kind of funny. I've kind of developed a sense with it. I can leave it on there, and then I can actually look over the top of it and still stay pretty accurate on the frame. So I guess I've probably done too much. So
it's interesting to talk to like other fans like yourself who film the show, record the audio, photographers, people who are writing about the shows, or just someone like myself who goes to show and takes it in as a fan, and knowing I'm going to talk about it, because your mind is sort of like, you want to be fully present, but also you're dedicating yourself at the same time to some sort of craft or some sort of other part of your brain where you're trying to do another task as well, even if it's just taking notes on your experience.
Yeah, actually, I went to Chicago for the last Dead shows in 2015, and we discussed this before. And I took some video there, and basically I just took video of the crowd dancing, because I always loved the way that crowd moved with the band behind them, because I really didn't have a great view. And just for ha-has, I stuck it on YouTube, and I uploaded it before I went to bed in the hotel, and I woke up in the morning and it had like 10,000 views just overnight. And I was like, holy crap, this is kind of cool. So then it kind of started to grow a little bit. And then I was at the very first Dead & Company show, which was in Albany, New York, later that fall. And so I got some subscribers, and that actually, I was basically, I was in a Grateful Dead bubble. I didn't venture too far out of it when I was, years ago. And I never went and saw the Almonds. And actually, so I got into TTB off the movie that they did for the Clapton Crossroad Festival. So I had no clue who Derek was. I basically was watching it. I was laying on the couch, and Midnight in Harlem came on, and I literally sat up and said, who is that band? So I was kind of trying to introduce Tedeschi Trucks to the Grateful Dead following that I had built up. And, a lot of people do know them, but a lot of people don't. So out of that click. So.
Right. So your videotaping and your recording of the video at shows goes more back to the Dead, and then you were trying to almost convert them in a sense to TTB.
We, it is funny to me now looking back on it, because I was so in my box, and thank God I finally got out of my box. And I love this band. And, we're at the point now where when the dates come out, you look at 3-hour driving radius, and and you go, I can make that on a work night.
On the West Coast, I consider even a larger radius. We'll see what goes. We'll see how the summer shakes out. Very, very cool. Very, very interesting. I want to hear like the whole cap experience. So like start from like arriving, I guess like at the venue, and like if we're at like song 3 of the first set and we've been talking for like 50 minutes, maybe I'll push us along a little bit. But I really want to hear. I always like to hear the story of your whole weekend.
You need some background on the cap. I think to start, the cap was, everybody played the cap years ago, and it wasn't New York City. It's not that far north of New York City, but it's not New York City. It's Westchester County. It's a little town called Port Chester. And I think a lot of people that did dates in New York City in the 60s then would migrate north, and the cap would probably be the first stop along the way. And it's just one of those cool old theaters, and it's like 1,500 people. So I guess Jerry Garcia said it was his favorite theater to play in. But, you look up the list of who played there. Janis Joplin wrote Mercedes-Benz in a coffee shop around the corner from the cap where she was playing that night. So Oh Lord, Won't You Buy Me a Mercedes-Benz. That, and then she did it on stage that night, which is kind of wild. It's an awesome venue, and you may know the promoter that owns the theater is Peter Shapiro. So he purchased it probably 12 years ago, and this year they're having their 10th anniversary where he reopened it. It had closed for a couple of years. But I mean, even the Stones, I think on Steel Wheels, they did an MTV special from there. And I guess the place was a dump, and he dumped a lot of money into it, and he fixed it up beautifully. He put the best sound system in there. He's got projections that he puts on the walls. They'll actually even put, instead of having a screen behind the band, sometimes they'll project the band on the walls. Sometimes they'll project stars and tie-dyes on the wall. It's sort of steal your face skulls, and it's a really kind of an immersive experience. And he put a lot of money into it, and they started having shows again 10 years ago, and I've seen some great music. It took me a while to get there for some reason. I didn't go right back. I probably missed the first 5 years of the opening, and then further did a 9-show residency there. And I went once, and then every time somebody would come there on like a residency, I'd go to more and more shows. So to where now, Tedeschi Trucks comes in for 3, I'm in for all 3.
Is that that's like your home
theater,
it's your closest kind of like theater where TTB would play, essentially?
Yeah, there's 2 really nice theaters in Poughkeepsie, but nobody really goes there, which is the Bardavon Opera House, and then the Chance, which is an old vaudeville theater. Like Dylan, when he was local here, he would rent the Chance, and he would practice there for 2 weeks, and then he would do his first show there, and they would just put it out on the radio. In 3 hours, Dylan's playing the Chance, line up, free show. So, and then, you get all the pushing and shoving in line. But I saw the band there several times in the mid 90s. But that's the closest. He's really kind of dedicated that theater to jam band, to the jam band scene. So, the stuff I want to see is there. So I drive an hour to see most of it. So
you gone?
I said, I go to too many shows to take days off. So most of the time I have 1 or 2 bourbons, and then I drive home at the end. So
I got you. Is the cap your favorite venue? Is it your favorite venue to see TTB? Where does it kind of fit into those things? Is that just a dumb question?
No. It actually is, because it's so small. And for me, the best thing about the cap is there's no seats in the orchestra, so it's a standing floor, and there's nothing in your way, and it's a GA. So like me, I like the rail, so if I get there at doors, I usually get the rail.
On this on the side, you mean, or
Well,
the rail?
I've made friends there. I used to go by myself, and I used to leave by myself, and now I've met some cool people along the way now, and they're always on the right side, so I'm always on the right side with them.
I got you. So it's not necessarily a filming location or a sound thing. It's just like,
Well, for
where
TTB, I shouldn't tell people this, but for TTB,
don't if it's going to compromise the integrity of the content that I like to consume.
Oh, that was a joke, but
I'm not joking.
Derek always faces that way. So if you're on the left, you're looking at his back all night because he faces her to solo. So
right.
if you're Susan's side, you're looking at him dead on. So
I see. Yeah, I've probably been on the wrong side all these years on like where Kofi, Derek, and where like Tim used to be, like facing the stage.
Yeah, if you're on that side, you're looking at his back when he goes over to solo when he's facing Susan.
So that's okay. I'm here to listen to the music.
Oh no, I am too.
You do the mile. That's always controversial. The Derek
shows. I take whatever seat I can get.
Right. And you were telling me offline before that another reason that you love the Cap, if I recall, is that it kind of has like a Beacon feel, but it's also just like a smaller, more intimate version. And although it's awesome that the Beacon shows as a 7-show or whatever residency will draw in fans from all over the country and world, I'm guessing that the Cap shows like kind of get more of the local dedicated fan, so to speak, and in an more intimate setting. Is that kind of
you're dealing, you don't have the people traveling in, so you're basically dealing with New York, Connecticut, New Jersey fans, and some diehards will travel a little further, but I love it when people travel for that. I have traveled for it. I've seen them in South Carolina and some other places. I've gone up to Boston, so I don't mind, but it's half the size of the Beacon. The Beacon's 3,000 people, and the Cap is 1,500. I've sat in the last row of the Beacon for Love Rocks a couple of years ago, and it's, you can get a nosebleed up there. So, I've sat in the last row of the Cap, and you're still close. It's just it's just a more homey feeling, So, and the Beacon's great, but it's just a different.
Right.
There's three decks on the Beacon. There's only one deck on the one balcony on the Cap. It's just a smaller, more intimate place. It's a cool. I'm going up to see the fireside version of the band in Portland, Maine next month. So that place is supposed to be intimate too. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, I'm sure that will be a lot of fun. Tell me about these 3 shows at the Capitol Theater, and like, just tell me the whole story. Or I mean, if there's anything noteworthy arriving, and I saw this and I did that, and then I went to I walked in, I like whatever details you're willing to share.
Well, it's always great seeing friends and making new friends, and we hung this past Beacon run, you and I, which was cool.
Yeah, it's the first time we met. First time I met a whole bunch of people for sure.
So that was super cool. Thursday was really cool, and then you work a whole day, and then you get in the car and you drive an hour. You leave right from work. You don't eat. You drive down there. You get in the lot, and then you go right to the door. You line up. You wait outside for 10 minutes, and then you go inside, and then you wait for an hour, and then they had an opening band that night, and they were very good. They were out of Brooklyn, kind of like a Laurel Canyon sound, called National Reserve. And they were great. And as you're waiting for the band to come on, you're going, man, it just gets tougher and tougher to do all 3. And why are you doing all 3? And, you have that. And then the band comes out, and they hit the stage. They hit the first notes of the song, and it's Anyhow. And they're halfway through, and Derek gets halfway through the first solo, and you go, that's why you do all 3, or that's why you do all 7 at the Beacon. And you're right in there, and they're just so good. So I shouldn't even say he does the first solo, because I've noticed more often than not, he may be the greatest guitar player on the planet. In my book, he is, But he always gives her the first solo more often than not. So, which I always find very cool. So, but that Thursday was really Derek and the Dominoes heavy. You know, you had and then you also had the song Susan did Pick Up My Pieces for Willie Nelson's sister. That 44 Blues, I guess, was it was a cover of an old blues song, but I guess Derek Trucks Band used to do it, so a lot of people were happy to hear that. I'd never heard it, so it was cool for me to find a hidden gem.
Are you looking at Friday's show? Or are you looking at 20? I see the 24th is Let Me Get By Just as Strange, the letter. I think you're looking at the 25th, which was that Friday night. Anyhow, and then I see Gonna Move, Belmont Blues.
I might be.
Hey, it's all good.
Right. It all runs together, brother.
I gather. And no, it is cool to hear, like, you never know what they're gonna open up with, of course, and like who's gonna get that first solo, and you always hear the cheers. I feel like when you hear anybody like in the band do the thing for the first time for the night, the first Derek solo, the first Susan solo, the first time Susan sings a note, we'll get cheers. We can go in chronological order.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen them since October at the Beacon Run, and then you go, you're just tired. So
so you hadn't seen Tedeschi Trucks Band live since the shows that we went to?
Yes. Exactly.
Wow, I didn't know that. I guess I some.
Well, I skipped the Boston Run this year.
Yeah.
So in years gone by, I've done both, but I did skip Boston this year. So that was my first show this year. So
that's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was awesome, and and then once you get in your groove, then I got up Saturday morning and I was like, I was ready to go. I was which is a lot easier to do than on a work night. On a work night. So
yeah, you're looking
to get out. You're making sure you get out of work early or on time anyway, and yeah, so I guess the Saturday was the Derek and the Dominoes heavy show. But Whiskey Legs is one of my favorites, and they did that night. And then you had the Angel from Montgomery with the Helpless running into it. And I did miss the Sugaree when they started doing that. So we got the full Sugaree on Saturday, which was cool. So
I got you. So I'm looking at for the 24th, Let Me Get By Just as Strange, the letter, Life is Crazy, Coming Home, It's So Heavy. Why Does Love Gotta Be So Sad? Do I Look Worried? Done Somebody Wrong? Sweet Inspiration, Whiskey Legs, Angel, Helpless, yeah. Key to the Highway, Idle Wind, and then the encore. It hurts so bad. It hurts so bad. I think this is Does it hurt here?
Well, Idle Wind is funny to me because I always thought Kofi owned that song, so it's kind of rough to hear that without the flute. But I'm glad it's back, because it is awesome.
Yeah, I've talked about this on the show with pretty much every time the song comes up is like, what do they do for like that very first, what's on the record and live for so many years, like the flute, the first time the flute comes in. And I know they had like Gabe playing a little keyboard here and there. And now the last recordings, at least that I've heard for the last year or so, seems like they just like leave that area, like leave the space. It's like space.
They play the rhythm and they leave
right.
the solo out. So
I think there's a reason for that.
Oh, I think it's a tribute. I think it's a tribute.
Right.
And I think it's super cool.
It makes it almost hard. It makes it more emotional in a sense, because it's more clear that it's a tribute to Kofi. Not that Gabe's playing is not a tribute to Kofi, and not that Kebby playing the flute, when he plays the flute is not a great tribute too. But like I get where they're going with the like leaving that sort of space and just like.
Yeah, well, I think the only song I ever heard Kebby play the flute on was Angel from Montgomery. He really didn't venture out of that box, I don't think.
Is that the only song you played the flute?
That's the only one I saw. I could be wrong. So
maybe he did an I Want More solo outro like when they start doing the jam on I Want More in like the second half of the song. I think he might have picked up the flute then. Someone out there is going to correct us or let us know the facts about that. But yeah, this looks like an awesome set list. And I'm gonna say that about the next two, obviously, as well. Coming Home is one of my favorites that they do.
Yeah, I love that Delaney and Bonnie cover, and you get the Clapton. You know, that long before they got a hold of it, that was a rocker.
Oh yeah. So, I've been trying to learn the riff on guitar. I looked at it the other night. I'm like, oh, let me see if I can let me look at the tab. But there's always these little intricacies where it's like, wait, that's not really what my ear heard before. Now that I'm trying to play it, it's like, oh, that's more complicated. But all these riffs are kind of like simple, but also like, if it's so simple, it's like, why didn't I come up with it? Why didn't I come up with Satisfaction? Why did whatever? If it's so simple and easy.
It was a good night, and then that was the race to get home because I did have to work tomorrow, so I really didn't linger that night.
Oh, you had to work the next day?
Yeah, I don't take off.
Right, because it was Thursday, Friday, and Saturday,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So it was a great night, and we I had a lot of friends there, so that was cool, and we had a good time.
And you were on the right side. If you're facing the stage, you're on the right, and you're kind of on the right side with your friends.
I'm almost directly in front of Brendan at that point, so
gotcha.
A little bit to the side of Brendan, to the outside of Brendan.
Yeah, I'm glad they play Whiskey Legs. That brought that back, and I love the dual, the call and response that Derek and Susan do when they do that, and they never overdo it. It's always like, that's the thing about this band. They always like leave you wanting more of like everything. It's like just the right amount of everything. At least I think so. I know that others debate about this, but
yeah, and that call and answer, that they look like they enjoy it. They look like they're having a blast. But I do think the reemergence of Whiskey Legs for the fireside shows was one of the best things that happened with the pandemic. So we got that
silver
song
linings. Silver lining. TTB has been hard at work bringing back some of the old ones and bringing them back live, as well as creating a lot of new music, from what I gather and what I've been, we've been talking about a little bit amongst the fans. And Susan's, of course, been like, she announced it at one of the shows. I don't know if you heard that on someone's recording.
I heard a couple of rumors. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. That'll be exciting.
There's some new music coming.
Just listening to, because I've listened to probably most of the songs on these from these 3 cap shows from our glorious tapers who record the audio, and just like listening to Mike, that dude is amazing. Like, I can't say enough about him, and just like the range that he has and the different tones that he achieves, and it's comes across as it being easy to him and just smooth and like totally in control the entire time. Like I don't know, I'm getting more and more like, not that it was ever not, but like my love for him is like, it's grown a lot.
I tape every song he comes to the front. So, because I think he's incredible. It's not a matter of liking one more than the other, but I get every Mike song. So when I'm recording video, and my big regret is, I was in my Grateful Dead box or my bubble, and I never saw Derek Trucks Band, and I would have loved to see Derek Trucks Band. So with Mike out front,
I think that's like, we all have those kinds of regrets, unless you were like living in the South or something, like when Derek was whatever, but like, yeah, I wish I had come into this early. I kind of been only hardcore into this music and Derek and Susan since when they started this band, really, since like, that's what's been special for me is but I would love to have been like more into like, I mean, I knew about the Allman Brothers. I knew who Derek Trucks was when I was, in the early 2000s too, but I wasn't like, for whatever reason, you just only discover it. You only get hardcore into it. Like, it's when you find it, you find it.
I did a Beacon show in 14. That was my first show. After watching them on the Crossroads concert there.
Yeah, a lot of people, since you were at episode 3, guest 3, like I tend to ask people's TTB origin stories. When did you discover Derek? When did you discover Susan? When did you find the band? And multiple people have definitely mentioned the Crossroads shows. Yeah. As
well, I'm sure the bulk of it's Allman Brothers. And people laugh at me because I saw TTB and I saw Government Mule before I saw the Allman Brothers. So I have a buddy that thinks that's hilarious. So
yeah, no, like I get it. Like I love the Allman Brothers, and I'm dedicating a lot of this podcast to Allman Brothers history, and I can't wait to dive more and more into that. And I have plans to do that this year for sure. I'll get into that. But like TTB is the band, they're my band, they're the band.
Yeah,
like
here at this point.
God forbid if anything happens to the band, like I'll continue to do this podcast and follow Derek, Susan, and all the members and all things related to the band. But like they're the band, this is, what I mean? This is what this whole thing is centered around.
If they're going to play within a 3-hour radius, 3 hours on the weekend and a 2-hour radius on a work night. So, I think I'm over 70 times now, and it's only since 14. It's like the astronomical stupid numbers that people got following the Dead, in the
right
70s and 80s, and it's just I live in a great spot because there's lots of places I can be in 2 hours.
Yeah, and as I've mentioned, I live in a terrible, terrible spot on the West Coast. Like your radius is 3 hours. I should probably extend mine to like 6, and then I put like Reno, San Fran, Bay Area.
Yeah.
Go out to Arizona.
I do feel bad for the West Coast fans because it seems like they don't get the opportunities that we get here. So
it's all trade-offs, I guess.
Yep.
Got some sunshine here. Anything else about the first night, the set list? Anything else that jumps?
I thought the band was on. I thought they were on all weekend. I think that Thursday's show is fairly typical. I think Friday was a little different.
I love how typical in this context kind of
incredible.
means yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you nailed it. Typical means incredible. So, and you walk out feeling a little bit taller and it's just, especially after the mess of the last 2 years, you kind of, it's joyful. The music's joyful. The crowd is joyful. The band is joyful. The band looks like they're having fun, where you go see some people and they don't look like they're having fun,
Yeah.
They could be, they're singing the blues and they look like they're having fun. So
yeah, there's no mailing it in.
Yeah, no.
Especially with that Susan Tedeschi woman.
Yeah.
So. Every note is just like, she gives it her all and with power and ferocity when needed, for sure.
Yep.
Such passion from the entire band, really, all the time. That again, no mailing it in. It is like a very spiritual experience going to the shows, and if like you were describing, it kind of does feel like medicine for your soul, or in a sense, like by the end of the night.
It sounds corny, but it's true. It's definitely something I needed. I had it before, and then I got it taken away for a little while, and then we got it back, so it was okay.
Sometimes you don't even know how much you need it until either it's gone or until you rediscover it.
Yeah, and it's funny because I went to the Brothers show. That for me, that was the closing of the world. That was the last. That was the very last thing I did. I think I worked 2 days after that. I was at work the following day and the day after, and then work sent me home, and it was really like kind of, and then we hunkered down, and I grew a ridiculous beard and waited for things to go back to normal. But that was just such a great night. It was literally, I drove down there and I knew it was stupid to even go, but I was going. And I drove from here down to Secaucus, New Jersey, hopped on the train, rode the train for 8 minutes into Penn Station, and then went upstairs, met my friend on the sidewalk, went up to the seats, sat in the seats, and the show started as soon as we got to the seats. And then when the show was over, I went down into the basement. I got right on the train. The train left pretty much immediately, got back in my car, and I said, man, that was stupid. It was dumb, but it was incredible. So
you good.
That was kind of the way I ended the pre-pandemic, and maybe this is the way we start the post-pandemic. So, which is good. So
definitely
great to have the cat back. So
yeah, shows are great. It's an emotional journey. It's a trip. Like, it is kind of like sort of like some sort of psychedelic. It's like a whole separate experience, like going to a show. You're taken to a different time and place in body, mind, and spirit, essentially.
And songs will take you to the past, and it's all of that. It's they can take you to a better place. It's the fastest way to bring a memory back is through music. That's it.
Right.
So
not smell.
Oh, maybe I could be wrong. I'm not a professional. I sell trucks. I don't do psychology, but
yeah,
for me, if I hear Don McLean, American Pie, I'm in my mother's 69 Nova with no air conditioning and black upholstery on a 105-degree day, with all the windows open, screaming at the top of our lungs, listening to WIP on the AM radio in Philadelphia. That's the fastest way to get back there.
I think so. I think there's a lot to what you are saying. True for sure. What about the second night, March 25th? I can run down the set list for you, or we could tell me maybe we got some stories before you just some stories or whatever, anecdotes.
Well, again, that was a work night, so I kind of I got right there as the doors opened, and I took a buddy of mine from work with me, and he's been to a couple of shows with me. So we got in, and we weren't there long, and they opened the doors, and we got our usual spot, and that was the night that was heavy on. It had a couple of the Derek and the Dominoes songs on it, so.
Yeah, 2 sets. First set, Anyhow, Gonna Move, Bell Bottom Blues, Somebody Pick Up My Pieces, Don't Let Me Slide, 44 Blues, Joyful Noise, Midnight in Harlem, and close the first set with Made Up Mind. Second set, Isn't It a Pity, Right on Time, Don't Keep Me Wondering, I Want More, Ball and Chain, Part of Me, Outside Woman Blues, Keep on Growing, How Blue Can You Get, and I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free.
Yeah, and
as the encore.
Yes, and that Anyhow, there's no better way for them to start a show as far as I'm concerned. With the way Susan sings that intro, that's exactly what
I was just gonna say. Like, the crowd must, when she sings that first note,
you're
hooked in for the next 3 hours or whatever.
Yeah. And I love all the Derek and the Dominoes stuff, and I was never the biggest Allman Brothers fan. I was never the biggest Eric Clapton fan, but that was my desert island record. If you could take one's record or CD on and be stuck on an island, that would be the one.
The Derek and the Dominoes album?
Yeah, I think it's a perfect piece of music. It is just Derek and Eric answering each other back and forth, and they were just so in tune. And the funny thing is, that's the first time they ever played together. It's pretty amazing. So that piece of music sounds like it does. That body of music sounds like it does. And the one thing I do want to mention is I don't think not a lot of people talked about it. It wasn't big news, but they did do the song for Bobby Nelson. When Susan did a Willie song, and she did mention Bobby Nelson, and because she passed away the week before. And then the weekend before, I saw Warren doing the solo show, and he opened that show with Angel Flying Too Close to the Ground, but he never mentioned why and I kind of felt almost like I was the only one in the crowd that knew why. So, but it was both were very fitting tributes. So, and you know, she played an awesome piano for him for 50 years. So, and I saw him the first time. I never even realized that his sister was in the band. So with Willie, so she probably doesn't get enough credit. So
No,
I did want to say that.
No, that's great. Yeah, TTB is always cognizant of those who've come before them, and
Yeah.
and definitely has done a lot of great dedications to different artists who passed over the years for sure.
Yeah.
And there's a great set list.
Yeah, and that was my hidden gems night. So, you know, anyhow was awesome. That Gonna Move, which, you know, kind of materialized here in the last, you know, post pandemic. That's always been awesome. Bell Bottom Blues is my sister's favorite song. I always have to say that. So, so we go, you know, that one goes back to my childhood, high school years. So, so I don't want to step on your toes here.
No, I'm listening. I just enjoy listening to.
Well, let's just skip ahead. That 44 Blues. That was my hidden gem. I'd never heard that before.
With Mike on vocal, of course, right?
Yes. And so I recorded it because it was Mike, not knowing what the song was. And then I posted on Facebook the video, and I just said, because the set list I couldn't find the set list at that point. So can anybody tell me the name of this song? And I guess it was recorded with Warren. So Tedeschi Trucks Band featuring Warren Haynes.
That I didn't know. I have to dig that up. They played this with Mike on vocal a few times within the last year or two. Not all that often.
Yeah. So then I got to dig that up, and I got to figure out what album that's on, because I thought I had everything. So, but evidently I don't. So, but and Joyful Noise, which is, you know, also an old Tedeschi Trucks Band staple. So, and then they have Ever Present Midnight, and they, you know, they crush Midnight, and you figure, you know, you're looking at your watch, and you're figuring, oh, that's the set, and then they will go, wait, there's more, and they come back with Made Up Mind, and, you know, Susan really, like, the roof was ready to come off the building at that point. It was pretty cool. So usually, you know, give you the midnight and then fade off, take the intermission, but, you know, I'd much rather have them go out on a high than a mellow, you know.
I like that. It's almost like a little bit of, it's a little bit of a surprise almost, in a sense, because I could envision everybody, you hearing Midnight in Harlem, and you're going through this not long, but like an emotional journey. It's like a showstopper. It's one of those songs where I'm sure they brought it down to a pin drop at some point.
Sure.
During the performance.
And that's the song that delivered me to the band. You know, that's right. You know,
it's their signature song, as I have. I mean, I think so. I could be, you know, whatever. I'm sure other people have opinions, but it seems like it's their signature song.
And then second set, Isn't It a Pity, having some George come back has been awesome, because, you know, I do recall 2014, 2015, there were a lot of George covers, and we haven't heard them lately, and that was cool. You know, you'd get a Wah Wah, or, you know, or Isn't It a Pity, and would usually creak up. And I think it's been a couple of years since I heard it. I saw them on George's birthday, and I think that was the last time I heard a George song. So
when's the last time they did something? I think that was it part of like the Layla recorded the live album with Trey Anastasio? Was it, or I feel like they played something a few times, like shortly after that. Maybe I'm mistaken, but they've definitely have done something. I think so, as TTB.
Yeah, I know I've captured it once or twice. There's a couple Isn't It a Pities on the channel, and there's a couple of somethings, and Wawa was the other one that they did quite a bit back in the mid mid tens, however we refer to that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right on time after Isn't It a Pity? Always a
yep.
fun song to see live. That song almost strikes me as like an outside the box TTB song, because I don't know. I mean, all their songs do sound kind of different, and at the same time do have some overlap between them. But like just something about the style of that song.
Oh, I think it's a pace
jazz.
changer.
Right.
You know, it's definitely a different pace, and I do think Mike wrote it. I could be wrong. You know, and you know, again, that's when he comes to the front, and I wherever you fit it in, I think it's a cool song. So, and then you get the Almonds Don't Keep Me Wondering, and then the place goes absolutely bonkers. So, and Gabe's crushed all those Almond songs. You know, there's he does bring some things to the table. You know, his voice is incredible. You know, and I think he likes the piano a little bit more than the organ, so it definitely it gives it a different sound than it used to have, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. You know, and I don't think, you know, anybody would want somebody to go up there and try to copy what Kofi did, because probably can't copy what Kofi did. So
constantly evolving, constantly trying new things, constantly keeping us on our toes, and that's like what keeps us exciting and maybe fun for us.
Maybe it keeps it a little fresher too, you know.
Sure, of course. And you know, my theory is that like the band could pick the set list out of a hat and none of us would probably even know or complain or think badly and think it would be amazing.
Right. Or they could sing the alphabet.
Yeah, maybe that will be. Don't do the alphabet. Maybe the set list thing though. What did I say? I think last episode I said I would listen to Derek play Happy Birthday on slide guitar or something like that. Yeah. Like that's good. That's good enough for me. But yeah, maybe like people are always saying, oh, the band, they're suggesting songs or like trying to predict what goes into what spot in the set list. My new thing is you guys got to pick the set list out of a hat. Like you got to put all the songs in there. You can't just put like the songs you're going to decide tonight. You got to put like all like 140 songs or whatever the hell you do, and just literally pick them, whatever, you know. That'd be fun.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And then you get the I Want More, and then you go back to an old classic that I hadn't heard in a while, which was Ball and Chain.
Right.
Which it was great to hear it come back. So, you know, that, and I was trying to remember if I'd ever even heard it live. So, I mean, I'm sure I have.
That was on was that on Revelator or Made Up Mind?
I think it was on Revelator.
Yeah.
So,
definitely have been a minute for that one.
Yeah, and the end of the show on Saturday was a little different. And I don't know what happened.
On this night, you mean on the 25th?
Yeah,
on the Friday, the second show.
Yeah, the Saturday night.
And no, that's Friday night, I think. Saturday is your third show, isn't it? Am I
right? Oh, I'm sorry, Friday night.
Yeah.
They're all running together. The Friday night was you know, then you go Outside Woman Blues and Keep on Growing, and then you get the Susan How Blue Do You Get, and the Susan missed a couple of cues and Keep on Growing, and
I think I heard that.
Yeah, I don't know if something was wrong, but the cool thing that came out of that is she comes back out and she does How Blue Do You Get, and I guess somewhere along the line it was that Derek was going to take lead on that song, where she usually takes lead on that song, and it gave it a whole different take, which I thought was awesome, because that's what I love about jam band music, because it's never the same twice. And you know, so you still have her vocals crushing it, but you had his guitar, where it's usually her guitar, so you get a little different perspective on the song, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's like that's definitely one of the things that I'm listening for when I listen to these recordings. I'm like, oh, I didn't hear it like that before.
If you listen to that song, that is the most different How Blue Can You Get that you will probably hear because of that. So, and then you get the encore. I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. And of course, Mark and Mike and Alicia crushed that.
Mm-hmm.
So, absolutely crushed that. And then everyone leaves going, I need more Alicia. I need more Alicia. So,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. You need more of this. You need more of that. They leave you wanting more of everything. What would you not want more of?
Yeah.
They give you the right amount.
So
that
then
Derek Trucks guy knows what he's doing.
Yes. So then we get to Saturday, and I did not get the rail on Saturday.
Oh no!
Because there was a rumor, and I have friends working security, and I have friends that know the security, and I heard it in two different places. And then when I was walking in, I saw the guy that runs security there, and he goes, "You're going to get a special treat tonight," as I'm walking in. So that's kind of when I realized I figured the rumor was true. But there is a bar attached to the cap called Garcia's, as in Jerry Garcia, and it's a long, narrow bar. And they when they let everybody in, they sent the line. Now you're only in the lobby, you're not in the theater yet. So they're setting up the stage or whatever. So they got curtains over the windows and the doors, and they snake the line into the bar. And I'm literally right at the front of the stage in the bar because they do smaller shows in there. That's where Marcus King used to play. So 2-3 years ago.
Things have changed.
Yeah. Well, actually, he was supposed to play 2 nights in the bar, and they sold out in like 20 seconds. So they moved the second show into the theater. So, and that was kind of like Marcus made the big time. And then usually it's the other way around. It's the bands that were big at one point, they put them in the theater and they don't sell at all. So they get moved into the bar. So Marcus did it the right way. So,
right.
So now I'm literally posted up on the front stage, and the rumor is that Derek Trucks is going to do a set as everyone's going into the theater. So there was some people heard about it, but I don't think a lot of people did. So then I look over in the corner, and Isaiah, the drummer's there, and Brendan's there, and then on the
Isaac,
other side, Isaac. And then on the other side, you got Kevy and Ephraim, and I'm going, holy crap, this really is going to happen. So they started to play, and they did like 4 songs, and I posted some stuff. If you want to check that out, it's on my page. But Derek never came. So I took the risk, and I didn't go for my usual spot. So I was a little bit back for Saturday night. So, which wasn't the end of the world.
Well, you got the extra music at the bar downstairs while they're people upstairs. Everything's a trade-off. Yeah.
Yes. You gotta give something up to get something at some point. So, and we did that on Saturday. So, but it was really neat. They did some improvisational pieces, and they did some old jazz standards. Caravan was one of them. That was the one I posted. It was really cool. And
you said someone was singing?
No, there was
just instrumentals.
Yeah, it was all instrumentals. I said it was they did a couple of improvisational pieces. Mm-hmm. So where they were making it up on the fly. So, and then Brandon and Isaac were laying down the groove, and Ephraim and Kevy were dancing over the top of it. So, which was cool. So, and the other thing is the drums are totally different now with Isaac, and now that we brought his name up, and it's kind of been cool to see it evolve as it goes. So
yeah, things are here. It sounds a little bit different on some of the recordings for sure, and even on like Bound for Glory, which they actually did play in the next set list. They're doing it. I don't know if on this one, but like it's like a different kind of groove a little bit, like the way they introduced the song, and I'm here for it.
And that's natural. And that's going to happen. So.
Yeah, I got to update my intro song for the podcast, which I use Bound for Glory. It's from like I know off the top of it. I think it's from like June in Japan of 2019. I'm just like, yeah, just use that one, and that just happens to be the thing. But I just use a more updated version maybe, or I need to update my logo also. get the new members in there. I got a lot of work to do. I'm realizing, but tell me more about the third night. That is awesome though, that you got to see a scaled down version of some of the musicians.
Yeah, no,
Before the
cool.
show. That is super cool.
So it was neat. You get more appreciation when it's stripped down a little more bare,
Whose idea was it to do that?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It was just something, and I really do think Derek was supposed to play with them, and something must have plans changed or whatever, because they did have additional spots set up on stage that nobody filled. So
you're an observant man.
Yeah, I know. Well, there was microphones there that never got used. So, and they were all in the back of the stage. No one came to the front of the stage. So, but so we made our way inside. We got the best spot we could, still on the right, and right out the gate you had Signs High Times, which is from the last album, and that's been a cool addition.
Yeah, I love how especially the vocalists shine and trade not just verses or parts, but like literally lines back and forth. Like it's a call and response with the vocalists. And I think it's no accident that they put that song on Signs the album as the first song on there. So it's like boom, immediately you're getting everybody. You're getting Tedeschi Trucks Band in full force on, like, everyone shines on that song.
Yeah, and I also think that it kind of ties the whole themes of the albums with the earth, the fire, the water that they kind of were working on for years. We didn't even know they were doing until. Yeah,
I'm wearing the Symbols hoodie now, still trying to interpret and figure out what everything means, and that's part of the journey as a fan. Like, you get to learn about the band and music and what it means to the band and other fans, and on a deeper level as we go on this journey.
Yep. So
Don't Drift Away, I love that too.
Yeah.
I just what a groove.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Derek's outro.
Yeah.
The solos are always just like something like, it's always ear catching, but he always does at least one or two things where it will like really catch my ear and be like, what did that guy just do? How did he do that? I never even heard him do that before. Just like, it's just like one of those, and it's always like a slide solo, I'm pretty sure, on Don't Drift Away.
And then the Misunderstood, and then Suzanne, and I love the arrangement on Suzanne.
Yeah.
Because that was always one of my favorite Leonard Cohen songs. It might have even been the first Leonard Cohen song I ever heard. And it sounds nothing like it did. And I think it's a great cover.
Yeah, I guess we learned because they brought that out during the Fireside series, and I guess it's the Nina Simone style that they do it in. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, super cool. I love that too.
Yeah, and the next one was another one I never heard. So that was the two songs out of the run I'd never heard before. Was that 44 Blues, and then Everybody's Got to Change Sometime, which I guess is a Taj Mahal song. Once again,
that's a good one. I know the song.
Mike out front. Yeah, I guess I gotta do some homework and dig up some Taj Mahal.
That's a good album. That song. That's got what's the other Taj Mahal song that they always do with volunteered slavery?
Leaving Trunk.
Yeah, I think Leaving Trunk is on that album too. I could be mistaken, but yeah, that's Taj Mahal is great.
Yeah, and then you had the Susan song, Just Won't Burn, and then and that brings everybody to a hush and makes everybody quiet, and then
that's
you get
serious blues.
Yes, and then you get smacked in the face with Any Day coming out of it, which they just crushed that, and they've been crushing it for a million years. They were crushing it in the Derek Truck Band days.
Yeah, so it never gets old. Like, if you, that song is probably a big reason why that's your desert album, and it would be in serious consideration for my desert album as well. Yeah. Just that that song is just such a powerhouse emotional experience, like
Oh, that whole album
on all levels. And you know, them doing it live, you never know what you're gonna hear or where it's gonna go.
You know, Clapton didn't tour on it that much. The band was short-lived. There was Jessica T's in there, so I had everybody going, "You got that right? You got that?" Yeah, I got it. It's there if anybody wants to hear it. I know there's a Jessica T's at the end. Gabe weaved it in real underneath at first, and then you kind of got smacked in the mouth with it later.
Yeah, I gotta listen back to that, because I know they've done, you know, some of the blue sky tees Derek will do sometimes during any day as well. But that got me thinking what you just said before, how like these Derek and the Dominoes songs, they didn't really play them live all that much. There seems like there's limited recordings of that available, other than like hearing it on the record itself. So when you think about it, who is playing these songs? Who's played these songs live besides like Derek? Yeah, that's exactly. That's my second thought too. Like besides Derek Trucks Band, Derek Trucks with TTB, or like maybe the Allman Brothers have covered some of the Derek and the Dominoes songs possibly as well. That's all probably also with Derek Trucks. But like, yeah, who the hell is playing Any Day, and who's playing Any Day to the quality that this band is doing it?
Yeah, well, maybe Clapton. He did when he toured that material and put Derek in the band, and that was that last live album he did, live in San Diego. So there was a lot of the Derek and the Dominoes material in there, and that's why Derek toured on it with him, because he needed somebody to do the Dwayne Allman parts. But
yeah, what songs? I guess Layla, Key to the Highway, or like some of the songs that Eric Clapton would do from the Derek and Dominoes album, like live.
Yeah, and maybe Bell Bottom Blues.
Right.
But he got away from doing Layla the way they did it on the album after the unplugged stuff. Yeah. So you wouldn't hear it that way.
He does it both sometimes. I know he does it, like he'll do the acoustic set and then do both versions even.
And then you get that thing again where after Any Day comes out and they blow the roof off the place, you figure that's the set.
That's the set.
Well, but wait. 2 more. Well, and then it's When Will I Begin? And you're going, they're going to go out on When Will I Begin? And then all of a sudden, in comes the storm. Like, you know, the storm is that locomotive running at the Buffalo, basically, you know, for me anyway. That, you know, I don't know if you'll hear better guitar anywhere than on the storm. I love when everybody just leaves the stage and leaves Derek with the drummers, Brennan and the keyboard player, and you know, and Susan's usually in the back dancing somewhere. So then the roof got removed again. So
yeah, I love the storm. That's another journey they take you on emotionally, musically. Never know what you're gonna hear, and you know, what bass solo, drum solos, and they rev it to bring it down, rev it back up.
Yeah, and then he came back with the Soul Serenade into Sugary, and like I said, Ed Gendelman had given me a warning about that. I guess he was standing out by the door, the freight door, while they were sound checking, so he heard he had a pretty good idea it was going to happen. So then once the first grooves of Sugary kicked in, I was fumbling with my camera, making sure I got it. So
people always go crazy when there's any sort of Grateful Dead
sure
cover.
Especially there, because the connection with Shapiro and the Dead is so huge there,
right?
You know, and then laugh about, and you know, it's funny because I love the original material, but just sometimes hearing the different takes on the covers are unreal. Sure. You know, and that Walk on Gilded Splinters, that does it for me. That, you know, I think the first time I heard that was that last Allman Brothers run at the Beacon. And I had not heard that before because I did not dive into the Dr. John catalog. I have since. So I had a good 2-week stretch before Mardi Gras this year, just beating that up, wearing it out. So, and then slowed it down again with Looking for Answers from Susan's solo catalog. And I do think that that's another hidden gem from the pandemic, having Susan break out her solo stuff and work it in the band.
No, I love Looking for Answers and Just Won't Burn. Like these are like showstoppers, you know.
Yeah,
in a sense.
But it's a nice change of pace from what you know is usually going on, both of them. So, and then they picked the pace right back up with Learn How to Love, and then, you know, Shame, and Shame is always a show style. It's kind of funny how watching that song evolve, you know, over the course of a couple of months, you know, back before the album came out. So it definitely wasn't as full when it started out.
I remember, I think the first time they played it was in Philly. Or in Pennsylvania somewhere. I just happened to like remember. I could be mistaken, but yeah, no, we've heard Shame. I think that was the first song that they played from
that album, from the last
Signs. Album. The first thing they debuted. I believe so.
Yeah.
It sounds like it could be an Allman Brothers song. I do some of their songs. I could kind of. It's like a tidal wave of these sounds and just the pacing of the song maybe reminds me of that.
And then back to Leaving Trunk, which, you know, they're covering the Taj Mahal style. You know, and that one's, you know, big and full. And you know, Mike crushes that. And someone in our group was looking for that through the whole run. So when they finally started playing the note, everyone was yelling at him, you got your Leaving Trunk. You got your Leaving Trunk. So
everyone's got the ones they want to hear.
Sure. And then Fire and Rain's another one I haven't heard them do in a while. And I like that they put Mark out front with that. You know, it's been cool to kind of watch that evolve over a couple of years.
Whose version are they actually covering? Because I don't think that they're not doing it like in the James Taylor style.
I'm assuming that's their arrangement. I would
maybe. I feel like I heard someone else, another band, or do it more in that style. Maybe not. Maybe I'm making stuff up.
Yeah. Well, it's a great song. That you know, if you actually take a breath and listen to the words, that's a heart-wrenching song. That'll really grab you.
Yeah, so, Mark shines on it, like you were saying, for sure.
Yeah. So, and then as you said before, Bound for Glory. You know, and it was just kind of a kind of a nice wrap to the 3 days, and it was perfectly placed after the 3 days, you know. And the one thing I'll say about Saturday, you know, smiles all the way around. And, you know, I was saying how the end of the show on Friday was a little different, but Derek was smiling the whole last quarter of that show. It just looked like they were in tune and they were happy, and everything was kind of flowing. It was a really super run. And, you know, and then Susan rips out her vocal cords at the end for I Pity the Fool. And, you know, she'll have to do it again for a couple of weeks. So
leave it all out there.
Leave it all out there. Don't bring any home.
There for sure. It's interesting how you say how Derek, you know, smiles during the shows. I mean, I feel like he smiles maybe more during shows now than even 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 like years ago. He's always been like obviously a pretty stoic stage presence, but you could see that, like, I think maybe even more so with this band, with his wife on stage, and just like over the years, just becoming more and more outwardly expressive, slightly more maybe.
I think they're both very proud of each other, and I think that's super cool. So
you see it on the stage, like when she's playing, or like when he's playing a solo, that like just her expressions and some of the other expressions in the band like make you know realize that, like, oh, they're fans too. They care about these people. You know, they admire them.
Yeah. Early on Saturday, she kind of she took more chances. She did more longer solos, and, you know, his corner of his lips were touching his earlobes. You know, it was one of those deals. You know, she really, I don't, you think that she had knee surgery 2 weeks ago, and I get, sometimes you get really dumb comments in the group and on even on my YouTube page. The woman had knee surgery literally 2 weeks ago, and she was doing shows from chairs for a couple of weeks, and then now she's back on her feet, and you wouldn't even know that she just went through that. And and people are going to criticize certain things, and it just gets ridiculous. It gets
these referring to Derek and Susan in the band, like these people are tough. Like I feel like you have to be to be a professional touring musician who works as hard as they do. You have to be like emotionally tough, physically tough to handle the demands of touring and traveling and being on your feet all night. And in Susan's case, dealing with some medical things with her knee and her knees. And like, it's just I mean, I admire that, like that they're able to sustain their careers and be successful. Like,
if they're
travel
smart
all the time, and
if they're smart, they're not paying attention to the noise. But unfortunately, I'm looking at the noise because I have the channel, and you're looking at the noise because you're doing this, and sometimes the noise gets ridiculous.
I don't listen to all that much. I'm able to, believe it or not, I feel like I actually insulate myself fairly well from just like trolls, stupidity, anything negative to the band. I don't really pay much attention to. I don't really respond to. Maybe I was guilty of getting sucked into more dumb, pointless conversations in the past. But really, I just want to talk about positive things. And there's so many like great things about the band to love and to talk about and to discuss. And obviously, just listen to the music. Just go listen to the music. Like, why are you even talking?
Well, the cool thing about a jam band is you may not have appreciated something the way it was presented this time. More than likely, it won't be presented that way again down the road. So, move on.
Yeah, no, for sure. Sounds like it was an amazing 3 nights of shows.
It's like I said, it's a special place. I think it's special. The Beacon shows are more special because they're going to do more. They're going to work on stuff, and they got more time to, downtime during the week where they probably work stuff out. So you don't get as many of the, stuff you didn't expect, like you do on a Beacon show, or the collaborations. I thought there was a chance that Warren could show up one of the nights because he's local. He doesn't live that far from the Cap. It didn't happen, and that was cool. It would have been a nice bonus, but it certainly wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
But it's always nice when it happens. It's a special place, and it's a great crowd for the most part. And I had a blast for 3 nights. I'm looking forward to going up to Maine. And
that's your next one, the Fireside.
So my dad lives up there, so I'm familiar with the area, so it was easier to do in Boston. So, and that was a much harder ticket, so I didn't even bother.
The Waterville Opera House or the State Theater in Portland?
State Theater in Portland.
That's the second.
Yeah, the other one's way up. Portland's 4 hours from here with no traffic. It's not bad. So.
And where the hell's Waterville? Why are we not going to that one too?
Good question. By the time we get there, I might have a ticket. So.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Never know.
Did you have a chance to, other than seeing some of the members up close at that pre-show show at the bar, did you have a chance to say hello to any of the members of TTB in passing?
I usually don't bother people.
I know you don't.
Yeah, no, walking out, there was Isaac and Brendan were hanging out in the back. They were in the bar on the pre-show, and I took 2 buddies to the Saturday show, and the one guy had no clue who Brendan was, and he was talking to him. And then he texted me the next day, and he's like, I was talking to that guy in the bar. I didn't even realize he was in the band until he looked at the videos.
Funny.
So, yeah. So, and then, Bobby was outside on the way in on Saturday. So,
but you leave everyone alone for the most
yeah,
part.
I don't,
I
we're
think
not going to.
Yeah, go on.
If somebody initiates a conversation with me, I'll talk to them, but I'm not going to insert myself into a conversation.
Yeah. But you can still say hello. Great job.
I say hello, yeah, and I'll give a wave, and I'll keep moving.
Okay, there. That's
if
okay.
they want to talk to me, they'll talk to me.
That's good enough, because
I feel like it's happened.
I feel like go on.
I bumped into Derek and Susan in Boston after a show, and I was in the front row with my friend Melissa, and she starts going, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Derek and Susan are coming down the street. I was like, all right. And they said hello to us, and we stopped and we probably talked for 10 minutes, and they had seen us in the front row that night. So they knew we were at the show. So, which is why they addressed us before we could even address them.
They know who you are.
Yeah, I think so.
You're Sean Roche. You tape shows and you've been to 70 of these things. I would be disappointed if you didn't get a chance to at least say hello to Derek and Susan in some capacity over the years. Yeah, no,
that's the one real close encounter I've had. So was the one in Boston on the street a couple years back. So, and the music's enough. Don't need to insert my life into their life.
Right. No, totally. No, that's like, I'm grateful for the music. Like, that's the end of my sentence.
Yeah. I was at a work golf outing years ago in Saratoga, and Bill Parcells was sitting at the bar, and I had heard all the stories about how everyone in Saratoga bothers him. So he stays at the Saratoga National Golf Club, and he doesn't really go into town. So the people that I was with were already sitting literally next to him. There was a seat between one of the guys and him, and I sat in it, and I had already decided I wasn't going to talk to him. And he started to talk to me. So once that happened, all bets were off.
That's the move.
I would treat them the same way. But I sat there and talked to Bill Parcells for 20 minutes, but only because he initiated the conversation. So.
Did you ask him about what happened in the second half of the Jets-Broncos AFC Championship game in 1998?
No, I did not. So actually, it
wasn't his fault.
Yeah, he had 6 televisions going, and he was the one picking the games, and they were all college games on a Saturday, and he was literally keeping tabs of former members of his coaching staff and former players. So he basically says, I like to try to keep up with what everybody's doing, and he was literally trying to watch 6 games at the same time.
He strikes me as an on the ball kind of guy who's still focused on whatever he may be focused on these days, even though I guess he's pretty much retired from working, I guess.
Well, the funny thing, it was raining that day, so I sit down and he looks at me and he says, "Did you play golf today?" And I said, "Yes, I did, coach." And he says, "You played 18 holes of golf today?" And I said, "Well, we played 17. It was raining pretty hard, and the 14th hole was going away from the clubhouse, and everything else was going back towards the clubhouse. So we skipped the 14th hole." And he was offended by that. He's like, "Oh, you should have played the 14th hole. It's lowest handicap on the golf course, and it's got the easiest." And he went on and on and on about the 14th hole. I couldn't believe it. And if he'd seen my golf game, he would have never even questioned it. So
that's funny. Good story and good stories.
Yeah,
I appreciate it for sure. Anything else we need to cover or mention? You want to talk about the band? I think we covered it all. These shows, what's upcoming, a little bit of
talk. I got the State Theater, and then I got Three Wheels of Soul tour, and I was lucky enough to get front row at 2 of those. So I'll be front row in Westville and in Saratoga. So that'll be cool.
It will be hard for me to resist. So when do you anticipate Beacon shows being announced, going on sale?
I don't think we're that far out. Usually it's already done by now. So
7 shows is what we can expect.
I don't think it's going to go down. It'll be 7 or 8.
Oh no, I have to go to as many as I can. What do I do?
What do you do?
I'd rather go to all 8 and sit in the last row than go to 3 and sit in the first row for those 3. So we're gonna keep that in mind.
Yeah, no, it's
I won't make my family go to all of them.
you can go with me. I don't care.
Let's
So
do it.
I'll go by myself. So
Yeah, no,
I
me
don't
too.
care.
Of course.
So, no, but I've done all 6 shows. I've done 5 of 6. Last year I just did the weekend shows, and of course all the sit-ins were during the week. And then
Oh yeah, Ed
picking
Gendelman,
yourself.
he did all of
Yeah,
them. What a
Ed's
hero. A few people
he's
did, of course.
retired. So
That's
I
right.
go to work and the shows.
Yeah.
So it gets a little harder, when you're sitting at your desk come 2:00 doing one of these deals.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna use our vacation days then for sure.
Yeah.
I'd log it. I mean, that's where they get my vacation hours. Take them all. Go for it.
Yeah. So it's good times.
Yeah, good times and good times to look forward to as well. Where can people follow your YouTube channel or whatever else you want to mention?
If you Google my name, it has an Irish spelling, so it's SeanRoche. Actually, I shouldn't say Google. Put Sean Roche in YouTube.
Yeah.
And videos will pop.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty easy to find you on YouTube. Sean Roche on YouTube. You'll find his channel. It's the one with all the Tedeschi Trucks Band videos and all the music videos on it,
yeah.
which I appreciate for sure. Because I was saying before or thinking before, I haven't really had a chance to dive too much into the videos or even a lot of the videos from like even this year, because it's just easier for me to just listen to the music in my car when I'm working out, when I'm cooking lunch. I don't know. It's not always convenient to watch the videos, but a lot of the video content that you and other people are shooting is awesome. And it is super cool to get a close look at the band doing their thing.
I'm not recording sound. If you want perfect sound or better sound, listen to Ed's recordings. The video is there. It is what it is.
I'll sync up his sound to your video. Oh no, more work. No, we don't.
Him and I have done that. He's taken
cool.
my videos and put his sound to it, and I have no issue with that.
That's so cool. I just love the idea of like this like organic community of like people coming together and working together just for joy.
Yeah,
basically for fun.
I had 2 buddies at Saturday's show, and I had another buddy at Friday's show, and they all went leaving. Sean's like the king of the cat, which I'm not, but it was kind of funny.
Now you are.
Walking in and knowing half the people is kind of neat. So
the way Ed was my seeing eye dog, seeing eye fan, whatever at the Beacon.
He's a much bigger deal than I am. Don't worry about that.
You guys are both big deals in my world.
So I
for sure. But on that note, thank you again for the time. I appreciate it for sure. What great stories. Can't wait to have you on back again to talk about more shows. I'm enjoying just, even though we get the short end of the stick in California, I appreciate people like you who record the shows, and be it video or audio, that give us some access, and it's going to be a great year of music for sure, man. But enjoy your evening, and let's talk more soon.
All right. I appreciate it, Adam.
You got it. So there you go. Episode 72 with Sean Roche. I like that guy, and I really do appreciate his time, and I hope to have him on again soon to recap more shows, talk more TTB, do the whole thing. We're going to keep this thing going. Anyway, for now, hope everyone out there is doing okay. Please check out Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. That's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. And of course, remember to tap subscribe or follow on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on: iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, however you listen to this show. And of course, it's on YouTube if you're watching. Tedeschi Trucks Podcast, just search that. I'm at Adam Choit on Twitter and Instagram if you want to follow me. Tedeschi Trucks Band, their official website is TedeschiTrucksBand.com. Definitely check that out. Their tour dates, all that. My other podcast is People We Love, at People We Love Podcast on Instagram, peoplewelovepodcast.com, the website for that. I think that's about all I got for today. I appreciate you guys listening as always, and let's talk soon. Peace.